All right, Oval fans. So I watched this week's episode last night, season 4, episode 20, entitled "The Point of No Return." Not a not a completely boring episode. I mean, there were some moments where it felt like, okay, we're actually getting somewhere, but for the most part, more of the same. But this wasn't as boring as Sisters last night, so I will score it higher. I'll give it about a 6 out of 10. I mean, things did kind of play out the way I expected. For one, Alonzo took all the drugs just like I predicted. But then again, I think it was easy to, no pun intended, sniff out that that was his plan. But, it gets to the point where poor Dale, I mean, remember, what was it when did Dale show up? What was it towards the end of season 2 when Donald had that one guy go into pharmacy and shoot him behind the counter? And now you have him being, taken into the employee's office, told, to stand with his face, looking at the wall, a gun pointed to the back of his head, and then from there to count to 100. Man, this guy, he's going through it. But yeah, Alonzo takes all the drugs as expected. So he actually goes back to the White House, talks with Alan real quick to, thank him for the tip. And also on top of that, he's just happy he got the drugs. Also wanted to know is like, so nice little operation they got going on down there, huh? Look, I don't know anything about it. I've never been to the pharmacy. I just know they have, the drugs I need. So from there, he tells him to make sure he gives the president Jacob Stallworth's order. And, Alonzo does just that later on in the episode. But of course, from there we have Alan getting a phone call from Antonio to let him know that his new batch of drugs is ready, but it is very strong, too much of it, and it could kill you. But remember, this is Alan's plan. So we have Richard, who needs to step out to go see Sam at the White House, and Priscilla comes over to watch Nancy. Nancy is just loopy. I don't know how else to put it. Still going on about Barry being dead. But you could tell that it's really weighing on Richard, because not only has he been worried, but, just hearing Nancy say it over and over again isn't helping the situation. Hasn't heard from his son, doesn't know where he is. So, yeah, it's weighing down on him, and you can tell. So Priscilla, sits with Nancy. And sits only goes for so long, because just like with Sharon, I'm at the highest and he healed me. I don't have any asthma. I want breakfast. You want breakfast? No, I'm good. She starts running up and down the stairs like a little kid to show how, cured she is. Like she doesn't breathe hard or anything going up and down the stairs. And then she goes to the kitchen to make some breakfast. And Priscilla's like, oh my God, because she's so shocked that her friend has been reduced to this. It's crazy. So Richard gets to the White House and he talks with Sam outside. He goes into the, the Secret Service camera room, but he tells Sam if they could step out. And basically, he's still, he just talks to him about what they've been talking about the past few episodes. That son of a, he did something to my wife and, she's acting crazy. Haven't found my son. And he says that, he killed him. And it's like, you don't believe him, do you, Richard? And then, well, you haven't told me anything. And of course, Sam is doing the usual, hey, the FBI's all over it. I got, they got informants in there. And if you go over there, Richard, which this is going to be incredibly stupid. Also, Priscilla, made sure that he wouldn't go over there. But how many characters said, look, make sure you don't go over there. Oh, I'm not going. And then they end up going somewhere they're not supposed to. And then they end up like Nancy or worse. But he chews out Sam, but there's really nothing he can do. And not to sound cold, but it's your son isn't in there, I know, but at the same time, you can't go because despite your granddaughter, your son missing, it's like the trolley problem. We can't sacrifice the greater good for one person. Like there's a whole compound of people, a whole bunch of kids, and the highest straight up said, if you or your wife come back to the compound, I will have your wife killed. and all the children will be dead at the gate. So basically, as much as it sucks, you can't go in there because of your family, because that will cause a whole lot of other people to die. So there's really nothing that can be done at the moment. And then Richard storms off. All right, so from there, Max and Bobby standing outside waiting for Eli. Bobby is just, really mad because he wants to get some. Max is trying to warn him still about, messing around with Priscilla. And Bobby just goes on a rant about, I'm Bobby. Bobby needs some ass. That's the only way for me to, because he's like, why don't you and Sam take to the boxing ring like me and Kyle? And it's like, no, man, Bobby don't need to box. Bobby needs some ass. That's how I cope. And then Eli, he comes out in the middle of this rant, and it's hilarious. Hey, sorry guys, I know it was a long night, so just take me home, and then Bobby, we can get you some ass. Oh, I'm sorry about that, sir. Yeah, well, let's just go. So they leave, and they get Eli home safe, and Max just lets Bobby go. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Bobby gonna go out and do what he wants. I mean, I think that Priscilla, they haven't been in contact yet, because I know that Priscilla says she can only stay for till 7 or something because she has a date. So I wonder how long that's going to go. If she's going to be still there with Nancy or what. But we have Kyle. Well, actually, Victoria goes into Donald's office looking for him. But remember, he went home in the last episode. Alan's there asking if he can help. Then he gets booted out when Kyle shows up. So Kyle asks Victoria, about the situation in regards to, hey, well, I think we may have Jason's location. I need to talk to the chief of staff due to the fact that I need, authorization for a drone strike because he might be somewhere in the state of Virginia. So Victoria goes to the Oval to speak with Hunter about it. He doesn't want to hear it and just, kicks him out. But before that, Alonzo's guarding the door and Victoria grills him because she overhears Hunter's like, do you have the stuff? And she knows it's drugs. Alonzo plays it off. And as soon as Victoria leaves, Alonzo's called in to give him the drugs. And he likes it. So, actually, he says that in the promo for next week. But, he's like, oh, that's the stuff. So, Alonzo is posted at the door. And he starts to get high. So, after that, we go over to Eli, talking with his wife. She wants to have lunch with Victoria. Eli's like, hey, did you call the first lady? And long story short, Eli tries to get, Simone to let go of her suspicions about any affair or, the first lady wanting him, but she's not going to let it go. That's pretty much it. And they're still going to meet for lunch, but I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea. I just think you're going right into the hornet's nest and expecting not to get stung. I mean, you can't just go up in there, speak your mind, and then act like nothing's going to happen on the way out. That's all I'm saying. And I don't want anything to happen to Simone. Okay, so last two scenes, we're almost done. Over at Donald's house, he gets home from work. Lily's just, on the couch, and she's upset at him for ruining Officer Heather's life, essentially. But, Donald's like, wait, how do you know that? I know you, Donald. And it's like, no. I know you know me, but how do you know what I did? Did your little, friend call you? He's just a nice guy. What, he has your phone number? Look, there are no nice guys in D.C. He wants to sleep with you. Like, what about Bobby? He's like, oh, he's around. Yeah, not around you. See what I mean? See what I mean, Lily? So then Kyle shows up, and they go to the garage and talk, and, Lily tries to listen from the door or whatever. I mean, I don't know. Even she knew what doesn't matter. But regardless, he wanted permission for the drone strike, but essentially it's brought up that, look, after the first one, we do not need another drone strike. Look, Kyle, if you know where he is, just go take care of it. Not dead or alive, dead. So Kyle tries to kiss him, but Donald ain't having it. So, he ends up leaving scoffed. But from there, or not scoffed, scorned. So then from there, he goes back into the house right as Lily's getting off the phone with Brian. Brian is just, going on about how, look, I'm not getting my pension. This guy ruined my life. Are you over there? Is he there? And then it's like, wait, what? Lily's like, what? No, don't come over here, Brian. Don't. And I'm just saying, like, honestly, these two kind of belong together because they're both idiots. people is like, look, I know you want to do this, but there are about 5 reasons why you should not go to this place and do what you're about to do, because it's not going to turn out good. But we know that in the promo for next week, he is going to show up. So she hangs up on the phone, and then of course, Donald overhears like, oh, you're talking to your little friend? Oh, too bad he's not coming. I love surprises. And then, Lily tries to jab him one time by saying that, you know what? Karma's a bitch. That's essentially what it is. And then the last scene, Kareem is still holding Sharon. I'm like, how long have they been in that position? All right, so Norman comes knocking on the door, and he's going off because, look, it's late. And yeah, matter of fact, it is nighttime now. Shoot, Kareem should have been at that pharmacy. Dang. All right, well, in any case, Norman, he's pissed off because, like, you know what day it is. You better not mess this up. And I'm like, well, Norman, if you only knew where all them drugs were now, and they're not at the pharmacy, and I don't mean that in a good way, as in the customers took care of it. No. You done lost a whole lot of money, because poor Dale was up in there. He ain't know what was going on. All those drugs are gone. So, somebody about to come up short. Now, Sharon is trying to plead with Kareem about going to the police, and Kareem, she's literally saying what we all said. It's like, look, why don't, he call Mr. Richard or call the police? Obviously, it's not going to look too good for him. And given the fact that, he tried to go to the police on Hunter, and then, well, that's how he got involved in this mess. I'm willing to wager that if he did go to the police and told them what happened, they would probably use that to have him locked up. That way he's completely out of the way. I think his best bet would have been to either call Sam or Richard, because convincing them would have been hard because they know, Barry and Kareem don't get along. But I do think that would have been his best bet. But instead, he decided to take care of himself. Hell, he even, slips up by saying, Barry's not here. I moved the body, not I. So then Sharon's freaking out. She's trying to escape. They get into another scuffle, which ends with her getting a baseball bat, knocking him upside the head. I'm not saying you can't kill someone with one strike. I'm not saying that. It just seems to be honest, if Kareem is dead, I don't care. I really don't. But damn, it would be pretty messed up if he was. What a way to go. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. Sharon is just shot. But it goes back to what Dale said a few episodes ago. Sharon, you don't always come up with the best plans. And all of this could have been avoided if you just didn't go over there. Literally, if Sharon would have just went to work, Kareem may have shown up at some point, but that would have been it. But yeah, that's all I got. But the episode, it wasn't that bad. I thought it was okay. So 6 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will catch you in the next one.